This segment is brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.
Hey everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. It's time to check in with the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. And for that, it's First Lieutenant Blake Tabor. Thanks so much for being with us. We've got a couple of interesting cases. The first one we'll be talking about, I guess, a disturbance, but it's getting a lot of heroin and that kind of stuff off the streets.
Absolutely. So, look, this was an ongoing narcotics-based investigation that kind of came to a head last Thursday on the 25th, but it ended up in the arrest of an Xavier Tion Lewis. He's a 24-year-old male. You see him photographed here. So, ultimately, on Thursday, again, shortly before 10 a.m., agents began to look for Mr. Lewis and ultimately located him at his place of employment on the west side of Houma. They located him in response to some outstanding warrants that were sort of unrelated to any investigation we were dealing with, but it all tied in once they kind of got into the nuts and bolts of this. So, again, once they located him, they were able to take him into custody, and then they began to do two separate search warrants at the same time once he was in custody. Now, when they did take him in custody, they did find him to be in possession of a loaded firearm with an extended magazine. So, again, very dangerous weapon that we're talking about here, and so that certainly raises some red flags, right? Ultimately, two different search warrants took place at the same time as it relates to Mr. Lewis. The agents located over 200 grams of heroin, multiple illegal THC vapes, numerous items of drug paraphernalia that is consistent with the distribution of illegal narcotics, and close to 100 grams of marijuana, which was located at his place of employment. Again, a secondary search was done of his home. Once that search was completed, ultimately they found another firearm, and they found some additional cash located at that home, but no drugs to speak of. Ultimately, he was arrested for multiple charges, and we'll just kind of talk about some of those. One was the creation or operation of a clandestine lab, possession with intent to distribute heroin, possession with the intent to distribute CDS-1, transactions involving proceeds from drug offenses, possession of drug paraphernalia, and a couple unrelated warrants. He's currently in jail on a $176,000, $200 bond.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Heroin used to be so rare, and now it's so common. Did something change? I guess the way they make it, or something that it's easily transported.
Yeah, and I think it's about mixing a lot of these different drugs. You know, you can mix fentanyl with anything now, but it sort of exacerbates all of these effects that these drugs are having. And, you know, we see resurgence of different drugs. We see where drugs will kind of fall off and deter somewhat, and then you'll see them spike again. Why is it? You know, no rhyme or reason, but, you know, they do come back into play.
Yeah, I guess the opioid, addiction thing over the years. But yeah, I think it used to be a death penalty, if you got caught with it too. And I think that probably changed a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
The next case is a disturbance at a local hotel.
Yeah, so this one was interesting. It's getting a lot of interest on our Facebook page currently. This one was a disturbance that happened on Friday during the day. At a local hotel where a Tyler James Anthony Guerin, 30 years old male of Morgan City, you see him photographed here, was ultimately arrested. Our patrol division was dispatched to that particular hotel after they learned that a large group of subjects were fighting at the pool. Of course, whenever our officers arrive, they find a white male, later identified as Mr. Guerin. He is extremely irate, and he's also bleeding from the head. So they were able to handcuff him and kind of take him into custody at that point to try to calm him down initially. As that investigation began to roll, they realized that Mr. Guerin was allegedly making contact with a group of young girls. One in particular was 18 years of age that he made contact with inside of the pool, where ultimately he made some sexual advances towards her and ultimately touched her in a private area on her body. After that took place, of course, some witnesses, the victim, began to reach out to family members who were inside the hotel, and of course, we know what happens from there, right? Family members show up. They verbally confronted Mr. Guerin. Once Mr. Guerin got out of the pool, allegedly, again, he took a swing at one of the relatives of the victim, and of course that led to a physical disturbance. So ultimately, once all of the information was taken into account. Ultimately, he was arrested for a charge of sexual battery, which was a felony, and also simple assault for swinging at the family member. He has currently been released on a $2,000 cash bond by local judges.
Wow. And yeah, I guess we also kind of put those two together, and they probably kind of had a stampede on him.
Absolutely.
Too, so.
Absolutely.
All right. And the final, and not to make fun, I need to get back what I'm doing. We have a missing juvenile.
We do. And so, again, Monday night, our authorities responded to an address on the east side of town where a Jeffrey Antonio Mencia, you see him photographed here, he's a 16-year-old Hispanic male, described at about 4'11", 110 pounds. Ultimately, he was involved in a slight disturbance with family members, and before police arrived, he departed the residence on a bicycle, where our patrol officers, as they began to locate or attempt to locate Mr. Mencia, they found the bike, but they have not found Mr. Mencia at this point. So, of course, we're reaching out to the public and anyone that sees Jeffrey Mencia to contact our office at 876-2500, or you can report that easily to 911.
Yeah, so again, kind of a smaller guy, 5'11".
Absolutely, very small, thin stature. No tattoos that we're aware of. That's correct.
Yeah. So it's last seen in East Houma.
Yep, near Prospect Boulevard.
Okay, so anybody obviously would know that should reach out to you.
Absolutely.
Guys. All right, well, very interesting cases, and again, some danger when you're talking about weapons and heroin and those kind of things.
It never seems to stop, Harry, but we're dealing with it as it comes,
All right, Blake Tabor, thanks so much for the update.
Thanks.
We'll be right back with more Bite Time right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.